Welcome back to Simply Comforting. Let us reach up to the wooden shelves of our quiet library tonight and pull a large, heavy book from the middle row. As we gently open the thick cover by the warm amber glow of the fireplace, let us turn the soft pages until we find the story we need, inviting us to step backward into a memory of absolute safety and sweetness. Let's turn off the main lights tonight. Just leave the little lamp on in the corner. Go ahead and find a comfortable spot. Pull the blankets all the way up over your shoulders and just let your body sink completely into the mattress. Think of a quiet, lazy, late afternoon inside a room that has been locked away from the busy world all day. Outside, the streets are completely silent and the air is perfectly still. The heavy linen curtains are drawn almost all the way shut, blocking out the bright sky and plunging the room into a deep, peaceful twilight. But right in the middle of the wall, there is a tiny, narrow gap between the fabrics. Through this small opening, a single, sharp ray of bright afternoon sunlight cuts directly across the dark air, stretching all the way from the window frame to the opposite wooden floorboards like a solid, glowing golden lane. When you look into this beam of light, you see a whole hidden world. Millions of tiny, microscopic dust motes are floating inside the gold lane, caught in the brilliant warmth of the sun. They don't look like dust at all right now. They look like thousands of tiny, glowing golden stars drifting through a silent, dark sky. They are moving with absolute patience, completely unaffected by the rush or noise of life outside the house. One tiny mote drifts slowly into the center of the beam, hangs frozen in midair for a few quiet seconds, and then lazily slides downward in a soft, looping curve. There is zero wind in this room, no drafts, and no sudden movements to disturb them. They rise and fall entirely on the natural, gentle currents of the warm air, performing a slow, silent dance that has no beginning and no end. You watch them from your bed, your eyes tracking a single bright speck as it travels an inch to the left, floats upward in a tiny spiral, and then disappears softly back into the dark shadows outside the light. The room is completely silent except for the low, distant hum of the afternoon turning into evening. The golden lane of light is thick with warmth, and you can see the fine grain of the old oak floorboards glowing bright red where the sun finally hits the wood at the base of the wall. A small patch of the rug is illuminated too, revealing the soft, thick textures of the woven wool threads catching the heat. You can smell the clean, grounding scent of sun-warmed wood and aged cotton paper. As you sit there watching the tiny specks drift through the light, you can feel a deep sense of stillness settling into your own mind. The slow, unchanging rhythm of the floating dust begs your thoughts to find a simple place to rest. Every single movement in the beam of light is completely unhurried, completely predictable, and entirely safe. It reminds you of quiet childhood summers when you had hours to just lie on the floor, look up at the ceiling, and watch the sun move across the room without a single worry in your head. You let your head sink back into the pillow, your hands resting loose and flat against your chest. Your eyes stay fixed on that single golden lane, watching the thousands of tiny stars glide back and forth through the warmth. The contrast between the dark, cool shadows of the bedroom and the brilliant, heated glow of the sunbeam makes your eyelids feel incredibly heavy. You don't need to hurry anywhere tonight. The clock on the wall doesn't matter. The busy thoughts of the day are all finished. The kitchen is clean, and there is nothing left for you to fix, solve, or think about until tomorrow. You are entirely hidden away in this small circle of quiet peace, protected from all the demands of the world outside. You take a deep, slow breath, feeling your chest rise and fall in perfect time with the lazy, floating rhythm of the sunbeam. Every time a tiny golden speck crosses the center of the light, it feels like another layer of stress is melting away from your shoulders. Your mind begins to mirror the total stillness of the room, letting go of the tightly coiled tension in your back and legs. The dust motes continue their patient dance, completely content to just drift, float, and exist in the warmth without any purpose or rush. They don't have to achieve anything, and neither do you. You let your fingers go completely soft against the blankets, feeling the heavy comfort of the bed holding you secure. The tiny, glowing specks move in a slow, continuous loop, rising up on a pocket of warm air, holding their place for a second, and then gliding back down toward the floorboards in absolute silence. As you follow one tiny mote with your eyes, you see it trace a slow circle, drifting upward toward the top of the window frame. It hangs there in the absolute center of the gold beam, glowing like a small spark from a campfire before lazily slipping sideways into the cool darkness of the room. The second it leaves the light, it completely disappears from view, sinking into the quiet safety of the shadows. But another one quickly takes its place, sliding out from the dark side of the room right into the brilliant warmth of the path. This constant, slow exchange happens without a single sound. There is no friction here, no noise of colliding elements, just a perfect, peaceful drift that keeps moving at the same unhurried pace minute after minute. The heat from the sunbeam has warmed the air right in the middle of the room, creating a very gentle, invisible current that lifts the smallest particles upward. They rise like tiny balloons, moving in slow-motion zigzags, hovering close together for a brief second before separating and floating off toward different corners of the beam. You can see the sheer density of the gold lane now. It looks thick, almost solid, like a physical pillar of liquid light extending down through the ceiling to anchor itself to the rug below. The rest of the room feels incredibly dark and quiet in contrast, a vast sea of peaceful shadows wrapping themselves around the heavy wooden furniture, the closed wardrobe, and the edges of your bed. Your hands feel heavy where they rest on the soft fabric of your blanket. You find yourself matching your own breathing to the slow ascent of the dust motes. You breathe in, and a cluster of tiny golden stars lifts gently toward the ceiling. You breathe out, and they settle back down, hovering in total stillness just an inch above the floorboards. The rhythm is so natural, so grounding, that it completely empties your mind of any lingering noise from the day. The worries that felt so important a few hours ago now seem as small and distant as the world outside the window. There is nothing for you to fix in this room. There is no problem to solve, no answer to find, and no work left to be done. Let your eyes stay heavy as you watch a larger particle enter the beam near the bottom of the lane. This one moves even more slowly than the rest, its weight keeping it low, gliding smoothly just above the texture of the carpet. It catches the light perfectly, turning a brilliant, fiery orange color as it floats across the red wool patterns of the rug. It seems to take a full minute just to travel a single foot across the floorboards, completely unbothered by time. That is the true beauty of this quiet afternoon kitchen space. Time seems to slow down until a single minute feels as long and peaceful as an entire hour. The rush of life simply cannot enter through that tiny gap in the linen curtains. The sun outside is beginning to drop lower in the sky now, moving toward the horizon. As it sinks, the golden lane of light inside the room begins to tilt, stretching even longer and moving slowly up the side of the wooden bookshelf. The bright gold color is gradually softening into a deep, warm amber, and the dark shadows in the corners of the room are growing wider, slowly swallowing up the floorboards. The thousands of tiny golden stars are drifting more slowly now as the air cools down, their movements becoming even more lazy and heavy in the dimming light. The long shadows on the wall have completely stopped moving, freezing in place as the entire house settles into total evening stillness. You look at the books on the shelf as the amber light glides across their spines. The gold touches the faded leather covers, lighting up the old letters for just a moment before moving onward. The dust motes inside the beam are moving in a much narrower path now as the gap between the curtains grows dim. They look like a tiny ribbon of gold dust spinning slowly in a quiet corner of the library. Their dance has become incredibly slow, a sleepy, heavy movement that mirrors the tiredness expanding through your own muscles. Your shoulders sink deeper into the soft support of the mattress, and your legs feel completely relaxed under the heavy weight of the quilts. Let your focus stay on the tiny speck that is hovering right at the edge of the fading light. It is barely moving at all now, just pulsing softly in the warm air, suspended in total serenity. The hum of the evening outside has completely died away, leaving the room in a state of absolute, deep silence. The air feels cool against your forehead, but your body is perfectly warm and protected beneath the layers of fabric. The amber lane has shrunk down to a thin, faint thread of light on the far wall, a final reminder of the sun before the night takes over completely. You don't need to try and keep your eyes open any longer. The day is fully finished, the light is gone, and it is finally time to let yourself go. Imagine the tiny golden stars completely settling down into the dark, resting quietly on the wood and the wool until tomorrow. The room is safe. The house is still, and everything is completely put away for the night. Take one final, deep, slow, and gentle breath of the quiet air. Let your thoughts turn completely soft, sink deep into the heavy comfort of the bed, and just drift away into a deep, effortless, and beautiful sleep.